Oh, you can't really hear it anymore. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode. This is Gw2 1 music in the background, and it's awesome. Listen to this. In fact, this is even pre-music. It's awesome. So, hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode. We're going to do a bit of a detour today. Not entirely. We will be continuing with the personal story. Don't worry. But we are at, as I mentioned in the last video, possibly, most likely, one of my favourite places in the game at the moment, because this is one of the most intriguing, mysterious areas, and just plain cool places to hang out. In fact, when I first got here, I loved it so much, I found it a bit of a shame there was only really one thing to do in terms of map completion here, which is a single skill challenge down there, which we'll earn in just a moment. But we are at a place called Gw2, or also known as Isgarren's View, I suppose, which is a small town in southern Kreiter or Kessex Hills, from which you can see this massive floating tower. There's a lot of weird kind of eerie stuff going on in the town. There's a lot that you can speculate on about this place. I'll try and give you guys the best of that general speculation people are having at the moment. But first, I thought what might be nice is if I just kind of run through and speak to everyone and kind of show you the interesting stuff first of all. So we've kind of entered the town from this angle over here. And there's plenty of people you can talk to in this town. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and keep it to the minimum, but speak to everyone first so we can all kind of experience it. Right, so first we've got this child. No, I don't want to play. He says, "You smell like money. You're rich, aren't you?" Might have some wealth. I thought so. Rich tourists are the best type of people. Actually, I do have some wealth. Look at this. I've got 79 silver. I'm not bragging. That's crazy. That's the most money I've ever had by level 20 on a character. Or maybe I've had... Nah. See, it's kind of crazy because what I've been doing this time is instead of faffing about with salvaging stuff and all that kind of rubbish, I've just been selling all of the gubbins, just absolutely everything, just sell. And whenever I open the bags as well, if I get stuff like jute or whatever, I've just been selling that on the trading post. In fact, I've got that much money, and also on the trading post, I've got 18 silver waiting for me. So it's like I've got about a gold already. It's crazy. It is crazy. So in any case, I'm earning a lot more, and if I'd known that on my first character instead of salvaging everything, then I probably would be on a lot more money at this point. But anyway, right, I don't want to go in that house too soon. I think we may have to go in this house too soon. Okay, so we've got this weird town, right? We've established the setting a little bit. And in the town, first of all, one intriguing thing, which I should probably knock out of the park straight away, is you got this house here. And can you hear that? Wait for it. It turned off. Shit, it turned off. I could hear it just now. Maybe it turns on and off. But we got this weird place here. And if we go upstairs into the attic, I believe we're in the right house. We might be in the wrong house. No, we're not. In the attic is a bunch of weird Isgarren equipment, which is kind of suspect straight away. We're nowhere near where the Isgarren live. Have we even interacted with an Isgarren in the LP? We might have one or two, but we saw that like inquest guy in Divinity's Reach. But there's some Isgarren stuff here, which is odd. Also, in the betas, you could actually come downstairs here, and this door here it didn't exist, and you could walk through this door, and if you looked on the left there was a staircase going deeper down underneath, but there's like a force field over that staircase, and you kind of wonder...
Storage sheds and run your livestock off the farm. I know, Grandma. You told me.
So that kid was talking about the elementals there, and you could see... Oh, there's weird explosions as well.
That's pretty much it. You don't want to go west of the canyon.
Why is that?
Way too dangerous. The people out there are practically barbarians.
We're going to see this a lot as well. Hopefully they won't interrupt me too much, but we're going to see a lot of characters talking about the canyon to the west and how scared they are. But in the betas, just to finish this point, through that door, I believe it's that door anyway, it might be in one of these other houses, we should check, you could see there was a staircase down. Yeah, it definitely is that door. And there's a force field preventing you from going down there, which looked very curious. So it was like the Isgarren had set up a lab here in this town. However, I would just like to say straight away, that doesn't actually seem to have much, if anything, to do with the intrigue of this place. The Isgarren are certainly watching this place, it seems. But in the Isgarren personal story, you do learn about that, and it's not necessarily got anything to do with the mysteries we're about to dive into here, so don't worry too much about that. We will see that later on in the Let's Play, but the Isgarren do have a presence here at the very least, as demonstrated by that. So then we've got these characters here, or one character, someone else ran over there, and talking about the canyon to the west.
Good to meet you.
Now there is a place in-game here, Cerebrov Canyon over here. For the purposes of just exploring and running around, it just seems like any other old place. But all the people here are really paranoid about it, and a lot of them use the stories of that canyon as an excuse never to leave this town, which is quite weird, and I'm going to be talking a little bit about mind control later anyway. So, but this woman here, it gives a pretty good introduction to what we're seeing. She says, "Welcome to Gw2, home of Isgarren's castle. castle. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Okay, who's Isgarren straight away? Not much is known about Isgarren. He keeps to his castle and is rarely ever seen or heard. What is known is that he has a kind, gracious heart, and he cares for and loves the people of this town. You also hear some people talking as well around here about how he's kind of a handsome gentleman, which is kind of weird, but I don't know whether we'll see those individual little dialogues, so bear that in mind. Tell me about the castle itself. It looks pretty cool. If it was day, it would look even cooler because we could see more detail on it. All that's known about the castle is that it's Isgarren's home. That I know of. No one save Isgarren has ever entered the castle. Even so, it draws tourists from all over Tyria. Okay, tourists. So now tourists are a big part too. We'll see a lot of them walking around. That's why that kid was like, are you rich? Do you have a lot of wealth? Because essentially we are a tourist too, but we're one with a magnifying glass for today. Why are the elementals here? The elementals are creations of Isgarren. They defend the town from threat and work as servants for the town's people. So Isgarren lives in this castle and he sends elementals down to this town. Now, elementals we've probably experienced a bit of, I suppose, already in the Let's Play. They're usually just mindless things that attack us. They kind of seem to just be the elements imbued with some kind of magic that makes them sentient in some manner, or at least animate. But here they are actually helping the people, not fighting. You can see that one down there, that tamed elemental. He's actually carrying a box from this boat that's just moored at the dock, and we'll speak to the dock workers in a second. But this little girl here...
Hi.
Yeah, she says, Grandma is so funny. All of the elementals here really creep her out. Why doesn't she like him? I don't know. She's not actually afraid of them.
When I was a little girl, elementals
Used to destroy your storage sheds and run your livestock off the farm. I know, Grandma. You've told
There you
me.
go, that's that full conversation. She's not actually afraid of them or anything. My mum just says Grandma has trouble handling change. She just came to live with us recently after all, but she seems to like the castle. Okay, well that's nice. And what about you, Felna? What do you actually have to say? When I was young, we didn't have elementals running around the city, doing everyone's chores for them. Folks did their work with their own two hands. You don't like it here? I didn't say that. The castle sure is pretty nice. I'd like to go there someday. Some of the other villagers go... Yeah, see, there's a typo there. Some of the other villagers go to live there. I keep hoping for an invitation myself. Do you ever get to see the villagers who moved there? No, but that's not surprising. A place as elegant as that, I'm sure they're just wrapped up in their new lives. And it's very isolated up there. I'll admit, I'm jealous. If it's isolated, wouldn't they want to come back down? Maybe someday you'll get to go there. It does look pretty big, and I like the idea that you could kind of live your whole life there. It's so big. Kind of... I'm going to make the comparison kind of a bit like Hogwarts. That's what I think of when I see that place. I'm like, oh yeah, it could be this huge place with loads of secret rooms, and you could live up there, and yeah. So, yeah, that's kind of eerie straight away. Like, people were going up there but not coming back down. That seems a bit suspect, a bit odd. That's that child who mentioned to us as a tourist. So this is the main entrance. This is where we saw the way in before. Here's some elementals. As you can see, they're perfectly friendly. Not going to attack us. As an elementalist, the profession in this game. And look, watch him. He'll defend the town, literally, from the Ettins here. So I don't know whether we'll actually survive against those Ettins. He must, actually, I suppose. So the Ettins are running in and trying to fight, but... They're just... Oh, shit. I knew that was going to happen. I knew that was going to happen, and yet I let it happen anyway. Oh, that's so stupid. Actually, a few of you guys gave me a few tips with playing the Ranger and stuff. Like how you can bind a key to About Face, and I do appreciate that. And then you can use skill 2 here to move around quickly. So I complained last episode about how the mobility was weird because I could only move one way. So like if I want to run forward, you'd go About Face... roll backwards, then go this way, then roll forwards, which is a bit fiddly. I don't know how good really it is for speed, but it seems okay. Also, another thing as well, before we get into this, pet name, I had a few suggestions, but overwhelmingly Moily was certainly the most requested option, so I'm going to go with that, and I think that's a really nice way of remembering and kind of saying thank you to the player that helped me. So there we go, that's going to be the Eagle's name. We might get some more pets as we go forward. We probably will. I'd like to demonstrate some of the other pets at least, so more chances to name them later on. But yeah, that's cool, so thanks for the suggestion, guys. I never really thought of that, so that's a good one. Any case, back to this. So the elementals, they're fine. As an elementalist in this game, you can summon elementals, but they expire very quickly. So I guess the idea is that they're not like permanent creatures of this earth or something, or there's something different you have to do to them to make them permanent, and I'll get back into that discussion later. Anyway, we've got some villagers here. This guy doesn't have any dialogue for us, no. Over here, you can usually see like tourists, visitors, walking forwards towards the entrance of this place, and they actually go up to the elementals and they go, oh, look at this is kind of cool, which is kind of what we're doing, I suppose, so I quite like that. It's a shame they don't seem to be about here right now. We got some other visitors here. See, there's a visitor, sorry, and a child here.
Are you
The child
a
says the
hero?
view of the castle is pretty amazing. amazing, isn't it? We say it sure is. I never get tired of standing and just watching the tower. I hope someday the wizard comes for a visit. I could totally be his apprentice. Sure, nice talking to you. So everyone seems to like the wizard. I've seen better. Really? Wow, you must be an amazing adventurer. My mum won't let me leave Garenhof. The world's too dangerous without the Isgarren's protection. So again, we're getting people like sticking about here. They're kind of getting a bit sheltered by the world. They're hearing rumours of things that are going on in this canyon that I can tell you for a fact there's not really anything going on there. I mean, there's wildlife to fight, but nothing particularly sinister, and yet everyone's really paranoid about it, and people seem to want to be sticking around. Maybe not the best thing in the world. So we've got some other people here. These guys, all these people stood in pairs, probably have things to say. Like, for example, this kid is making these elementals fight, so he directly is controlling these. And he's loving it. It's brilliant. So he says, "Ha, the elementals do whatever I tell them to. I love watching them fight. It's so much fun. Aren't you afraid of them? Why would I be? They're just playthings. Isgarren wouldn't let anything hurt me." So he's pretty sure about that. And that's kind of a scary idea. What if the elementals did turn on these people? Dylan here says, "Can you believe this place? I can't wait to go on a tour. I'm taking everyone on a tour myself. And there are so many souvenirs. You seem like you're having fun. How could I not be? I'm not at work. I get to just wander around a new place all day. Did you know that you can pay to have the elementals bring meals right to you at the inn?" Where is the inn? I guess it's one of these many buildings we can't enter. And Muriel here says, "This is supposed to be the town to visit for a vacation. Doesn't seem all that special to me. There's the castle, but apparently we can't go inside. Elementals are everywhere, but elementals are always everywhere, fighting you usually. Where are you from?" "Quarryside, near Keswick's Haven. I wanted to go somewhere exotic, maybe visit an Isgarren city or Silvari Woods, but we can't afford to go much farther than this. And Dylan had to come see the elementals. Try to enjoy your stay." It's like going on, for me in England, right? It's like going on holiday in your own country, which I've spent most of my life doing. It's like, oh, it's not too far away, it's not too amazing there either, but hey, we're on a budget, there's stuff to see, so let's go do it. It's exactly like that. That's what it reminds me of. Also, there used to be, unless they've been removed since the betas, there was a character that I wanted to speak to up here before we go to the docks. Also, that window looks really cool. It reminds me of an old game I used to play called Little Big Adventure, where you had to like climb in a window at the start. Over here, maybe? Oh, maybe they've been removed. That sucks. There is. I thought there was a kid somewhere that was like, "Oh, hey, the castle looks good." And you're like, "Yeah, it sure does." And then they're like, "You got any money? Because I'll tell you about it if you pay me." And basically you tell them to bugger off. And like, it kind of makes me think, no, I'll pay you all the money in the world. Here, take all my gold. Is it this villager? No, we're just running in circles. Maybe they're not there anymore. That sucks. Unless it's that child over there. Did we already speak to that child? Did we come up here? I don't remember coming up here. Maybe we did. Hold on, let's have a quick look.
Hi.
Yeah, no, we did. We did speak to this person. Okay, never mind. Enough faffing about, but that was a thing, at least for a while. I got some more visitors. Oh, no, just villagers here. Here's this elemental. See, unloading stuff from the docks. We'll do the skill point here as well. So for those of you who feel like I need to make progress in a video, we can actually make some progress. Cool.
Step up, workers. You need to learn how to handle this elemental.
And this one's actually named Mikasa.
Welcome.
We're training with elementals. I need to get my workers ready to handle problems like this. You never know what's going to happen on these docks. Why don't you try your hand against the elemental? You might just learn something. Okay, I'm suddenly really scared because I'm not actually that good at the ranger right now. I'm going to pop troll on Gw2 first. Because this guy actually packs a punch. He's actually quite dangerous. Alright, here we go. Auto attack for the win, yay! See, look how much damage he does. Oh, also, you guys gave me a tip. Swap your pets before they die, because you take less damage. That you can swap back quicker if they didn't die before you swap them the first time. Also, protect me. Yeah, see, look at these fonts. Ow. It's very difficult. No, Mike, fight. Please fight, Mike. Yes, good. I need you to help me, because this is pretty dangerous. Hopefully he stopped laying down his fonts. I can't really get in melee if he's going to lay his fonts directly down on top of there, but Mike's pretty good. Mike's pretty tanky, actually, jeez, especially with Trial Unguent. There we go, he's dead.
Did you see that, workers? That's how you do it.
Yes, and it wasn't easy, but there we go. So the workers have to say, sit back and let the elementals take care of everything. Most of them say that same thing, but this guy over here, I believe, says, I love making deliveries to this town. You just pull into port and let Isgarren's elementals do the work for you. Normally we'd unload everything ourselves while we're defending against attackers. He makes it sound a lot like a dynamic event there, which I think is probably on purpose. So they're all loving it. They're all enjoying the fruits of the elementals' labours. And not really questioning it. I think you come across a couple of NPCs that question it. You as the player actually walk along and question it. What happens if these things do start attacking? But in general...
You've never actually spoken to him, have you?
So they were talking about Isgarren there. This is the mayor of the town, Mayor Manrin, who's never actually spoken to the wizard up there that's protecting all this town, which, again, is suspect. Welcome to Garenhof. Beneath Isgarren's castle, you've got nothing to fear or want. Enjoy your stay and taking the sights, sure.
We're here to serve.
Town Guard says, I'm the one and only town guard for Garenhof. If you run into any trouble, let the elementals handle it. How can there only be one guard? The elementals keep us safe. In all honesty, I don't really do anything. I'm more here to keep up appearances than anything else. Aren't you at all worried about the elementals? Why would we be? They've been here longer than I have, and there's never been an issue. To be honest, if they did attack, we wouldn't have a chance anyway. Why worry? So, if we assume this guy was born in this town, which is an assumption, really, it's not a fair one, but if we do, then you can kind of see already that these elementals have been here for a long time. We don't actually have a specific time frame of how long this guy's been here, but I do have some talk for you guys about the history of this, particularly in reference to Guild Wars 1 as well. So we know that it wasn't like this, for example, in 250 years ago. So there's that. This is the kid that's making them fight. I think we've spoken to everyone there. Let's continue along. I love this, ignoring all the intrigue and stuff with the elementals and stuff. I just love this how much cool stuff there is in this little town. It's so well thought out. You don't really get many other towns like this. Not even Beetleton, I would say, feels as much like a little town or a little village as this place does. And Beetleton, it's not a place we've seen in the Let's Play yet, but we will eventually, because there's some stuff in the story later on to go there. And that's supposed to be quite a big one, really. You get the impression of it anyway. 2 more people here, Sable and Lucy. Lucy's spelled in quite a nice way, actually. Oh, great, another tourist. Joyous days. What do you want? The castle's up there and the elementals are everywhere. If you're looking for a guided tour, ask someone else. Ask Wooden Potatoes. I just wanted to say hello. Oh, I'm sorry. I know that was rude of me. I just get so tired of all the visitors staring at us and asking stupid questions. I live here. This is my home. I'm not here to entertain you. You don't like the attention? I love attention, but people should bug me because they're interested in me, not because they want the history of some building I've never been in. That's why I want to go join the fair in Divinity's Reach. Wow, I don't really like you, actually. You're a bit of a bitch. Sable here says, hello, you're a newcomer to Garenhof, I can tell. We get a lot of visitors. We're quite the popular little town. Do you like it here? I love it. There's something out. It's like something out of a children's story, with the kindly wizard watching over all the sleeping little village and sending his magical minions to help with day-to-day chores. Yeah, it does sound a bit fairy tale-ish. I think your friend disagrees. Don't listen to Lucy. She complains a lot that it's a ruse. Every week she comes up with a new plan to leave and start some new extravagant life. This week is the carnival. She just wants to be noticed. What do you think of Garenhof? I love it. Blah blah blah. Okay, sure. And that's another kind of hint there again. People aren't leaving. She wants to leave, but she's not leaving. Everyone's kind of just settled in here, and just maybe the way Isgarren wants it. It all comes across a bit sinister. So we can come down here before we go up on the left. I don't think there's much here. In case you're wondering about these merchants, by the way, nothing unique. This was one of the moments where I got a little bit depressed because I realised that a lot of the merchants, it's not like other games where you really feel rewarded for speaking to. I'll sell that stuff later. Where you feel really rewarded by speaking to certain merchants, like, oh yeah, this is kind of cool. It's not like that at all. And they always just kind of add the same generic stuff. So there's a lot of merchants, but functionally there may as well only be one. All right, so we've got something on the left, which I'll look at in a second. And we've also got this area up here. I think these guys have dialogue too. It's a shame because, I mean, I can't just stand around waiting for all of it. But yeah, so that's pretty much all of it. You get a nice view, again, of the castle here a little bit closer up. And last but not least, we've got these 2 people here who, again, have dialogue. Maybe they'll speak while we're talking to them. One's called Tilly, who says, oh, that woman's speaking in the background. Where is she?
I like my privacy.
Where will you go?
Divinity's Reach, maybe. Might join the carnival there.
You make no sense.
Yeah, why would you want to join the carnival anyway? No, okay, so we've got these 2 people here. Tilly says, as safe as I feel with the elementals around, occasionally something just feels wrong about them. So some people appreciate this. What do you mean? I don't know what it is exactly. They just seem angry sometimes, as if they're being forced to do something against their will. Are they being forced into servitude? No one really knows what they are, let alone why they freely serve us. Honestly, I don't think people here would care if they were. Thank you for your time. And Clandentint says, even with war in every direction, which is a reasonably fair statement to do with the centaurs, I suppose, the Isgarren's elementals keep us safe. We're in his debt without ever really knowing him. Doesn't that worry you? Some, but he's never given us reason to doubt his intentions. The more we depend on him, the more he comes through. Sounds dangerous, but good luck. And we've got this gate. These things, this is a very specific style of gate, right? You see this whenever ArenaNet are kind of hinting something will be added post-launch. Like the gate to the Crystal Desert, it looks exactly like this. The gate that we saw by the Great Collapse looks exactly like this. They all look like this. And you can kind of vaguely see stuff through there. I'm almost 100% sure we're going to get an expansion at some point. Maybe DLC that lets us go to a new dungeon or something that will let us go there eventually. In fact, if we look on our map, this is Lion's Arch here. We haven't explored everywhere, but this massive massive chunk of land here we'll never be able to access, and it seems very much to me that when that gets added, we'll finally be able to go up here. If you swim out into the waters, I know a lot of players attempted to do that when they first get in game. You can't actually go too far. There's like an invisible barrier just there, so you can't swim directly underneath it. So really, this is the best view you're going to get of it. There's another view you can get from up on those cliffs over there. Can you see there's a vista there and stuff, which we'll do eventually at some other point. But yeah, so this is as close as you can get. Now, what can I tell you outside of what you can see in the game of basically what this town's like, what the setting is like? There's all kinds of different things that you can think about and I guess at what's going on. Who is this Garenhof? What's happening? The easiest way is to look at Guild Wars 1. The splash screen for today showed you this tower in Guild Wars 1. It always existed in Guild Wars 1. It was this thing. It was a very unique location, something you didn't really see anywhere else in the game. There was a quest as well that you would get at Lion's Arch in Guild Wars 1 to go on this massive long journey to kill a villain that was kind of living near the tower. And in the dialogue for that quest, it was called the Wizard's Tower. So that's kind of where we get the name, the Wizard's Tower, even though it doesn't really look like a tower. And it looks a lot more like kind of a castle, I suppose, a giant floating castle now. But it was called the Wizard's Tower in Guild Wars 1, and it looked like lots of little towers, honestly, in Guild Wars 1. But that's kind of where it gets its name. Whether it still has the same name, I guess, I don't know. You can easily call it a castle if you want, or Isgarren's Castle, or Wizard's Fife, as the game seems to name it, at least here. So there's this kind of interesting stuff there with the fact it was there in Guild Wars 1, but aside from the name, there was no other lore about it. You could just see it. When the game was being developed, we heard that this has actually moved. It's a giant floating thing, and it has moved. Its location in Guild Wars 1 was much further to the south, and this land in Guild Wars 2 is blocked off to us as well, and that's because of another race called the Tengu, who now own this area. It's called the Dominion of Winds, right? So basically it got moved at some point in the 250 years, and then the Dominion of Winds was built, or the Dominion of Winds was built, and then Isgarren kind of went in it and moved. So there's a chance that this Isgarren guy there could be, nothing specifically says he's human, so there is a good chance he's a Tengu, perhaps, because it's the Tengu that came to live in the lands where the tower originally was before it got moved. So there's a chance of that, I suppose, of you saying that. But other ideas of who it could be, in Guild Wars 1, although there was no extra lore written about it, living near it was a necromancer character that kind of was recurring through the plot a fair bit. It was this guy called Verata, who you met in the earliest of quests in Guild Wars 1, who was this necromancer. That the story goes, he was basically exiled because he was doing research into minions, Guild Wars 1 necromancer minions, so like undead, but he was doing research into them, in particular to try and make them last longer, and it was becoming more and more questionable until eventually he was basically kicked out of what was called the Order, which was this group of necromancers, right, in Guild Wars 1, and he went to live by this tower. Now, there was no real quest to make you kill this guy. He had a huge guild, a huge cult that would follow him, and there is, I guess, an idea that Verata himself, maybe if he'd found out how to live forever, or as a lot of liches do, for example, or someone as a part of his cult ended up continuing on his research, and the fruits of their labor were eventually these golems, because in a weird way they are kind of minions. They're not the minions we knew, undead minions from Guild Wars 1, but they are minions that are existing permanently. I mean, as I said earlier, elementalists can summon these things, but they always run out after a while. So I quite like that idea, that it's got something to do with this guy, Verata, and his cult and the guild that he'd formed, and somehow he's living up there now. That, of course, would put him to be a human. The idea of them being other races, though, is interesting too. In Guild Wars 1, there was one other race we really got to see that actually used golems in this same way. They didn't seem to be summoned golems or whatever, but they were, I mean, these are called tamed elementals, right? But in Guild Wars 1, the Stone Summit, a faction of dwarves, actually got these golems themselves and enslaved them and used them quite often. That's the only other example we've seen of other races or characters in this universe doing this kind of thing. And the dwarves themselves are immortal at this point in the story, so there's also a chance that that's a dwarf that lives up there, and it's a dwarf that's sending this stuff out. Isgarren sounds like a kind of dwarfy name, I suppose-ish, so there's that possibility as well. But aside from the fact that the Stone Summit were using golems in the first game, really we can't speculate further on that point. And I suppose he is called a gentleman as well by some of these guys here. A handsome gentleman, I suppose that couldn't really work as a Stone Summit. But then the idea is no one might have even ever seen him, right? So it seems a bit suspect. So then there's this other idea that these people are being taken from this town and moved up there.
If a bunch of elementals showed up to do manual labor, you'd lose your job.
Oh, right.
Oh, these are the tourists, right? Okay, from the quarry side. Right, so yeah, so there's also this idea that people are being taken up there. It certainly seems to me that this guy is making everyone paranoid about particularly this canyon nearby, or just things nearby, right? He's making them paranoid so they won't want to leave, and he's making them admire them so that he can take people up there to do whatever his sinister stuff is. I mean, the first idea would be he's killing them. A lot of people are drawing parallels to maybe he needs souls of people. If he is still part of this, like, Verata's cult or whatever, maybe he needs their souls to make these elementals, to make them last forever. Because don't forget, Verata's cult was kicked out of traditional necromancy or whatever because they were being too dark. And so there's that idea as well. One thing that a lot of people are kind of jumping to is this idea that it could be something to do with the White Mantle. Because in Guild Wars 1, the White Mantle were kidnapping people. But the reason for why the White Mantle would still be kidnapping people, I can't see it. I can't see it. I think it's a crappy reason. I really do. I think it's very short-sighted to just say, oh, it's the White Mantle because they were taking people in Guild Wars 1. There's no reason for the White Mantle to still be doing that. And the White Mantle are pretty much dead at this point. As we've seen in the personal story, there aren't too many White Mantles still around. So there's that. And then further, there's this idea that maybe it could have something to do with the Asura. But honestly, as I say, when we do the Asura personal storyline, we'll learn a little bit about the Asura lab that's going on here. And really, it doesn't shed much more light. So in any case, that's all I can really tell you guys about this place. That's really all the speculation I have. It certainly seems, especially because of that gate, eventually at some point we will be able to go and explore it later on. But yeah, so that's Isgarren's view. I know most of this episode's been that, but let's continue with the personal story now. Let me know what you guys think as well. Hopefully I've taught you at least something about what's going on here. And we can stop being a tourist now and we can move on. I just wish there was more to do here because it's so cool. I'd love a reason to hang out a bit more. But hey, maybe if it eventually becomes like some kind of dungeon, we'll see a lot of people kicking their feet back and enjoying the scenery. Right, so at the end of the last episode, we got a mail. This was from Countess Anise, and it was titled Summoned to the Throne. We simply got this at the end of the last quest. It said, Hero of Shaemor, by the will and command of Queen Jenna of Kryta, you are hereby formally summoned to attend the royal presence. Make all haste to her throne room in Divinity's Reach, and you will be welcomed there. Until next we meet, may the six gods watch over you in all things. Countess Anise. So yeah, we're going to meet the Queen, guys. As it says there, meet with Queen Jenna. Kind of spoils that a little bit, but yeah. So let's go over to the throne's room, very close to the Seraph headquarters. Almost said the Vigil headquarters there, but it's not that at all. And we finally get to meet this lady. It's kind of weird. I like it when games and stuff build up a character and then you finally meet them. Like Lost was really good for that because they built up like this character of Jacob. But it's very hard, I feel like, when you do something like that, when you finally meet the character, to have people not be disappointed about the way they look or they move or they talk or whatever. Guild Wars kind of falls into that trap a little bit. So would we like to continue our story, The Orders of Tyria, level 21 quest? Sure. I know we're still only level 20, but we're almost 21, aren't we? So that should be okay. And I think it's only proper that we walk. And I'm sorry, Mike, but we should come inside for a second. And there's this giant like rock here. I've heard people speculating about this. What is this? Is this a piece of the Bloodstone or something? It kind of looks like it might be. It's kind of interesting, isn't it? But I don't think there's anything specifically that says it. And why would they have a bit of the Bloodstone here? But I like the idea, especially with the way you see it kind of glow and stuff. This is the throne room, by the way. It looks really impressive, doesn't it? Very cool. There's lots of little side passages and stuff that you can't go in. This game is one game out more than many others that makes me really kind of think, shit, I wish I could go through all these doors, but you can't. I love the reds and whites and stuff though. But in any case, we'll walk up. We've got Anise there, Logan there, and Queen Jenna.
Your Majesty, Captain Thackeray, I was summoned?
Indeed. I'm glad you're here, my friend. Kryta needs you once more.
You know I'll do anything I can to help. What's the problem, Captain?
There's a swamp in southern Kryta called Lichcroft Mere. The area's been hit hard by our war with the Centaurs. Most of the lumber there goes to build catapults and defenses, so it's common practice to use strips of marsh moss instead of firewood on cold nights. However, the Seraph have brought me recent reports that risen undead, servants of Or, have been seen in the swamp.
Risen? The dragon's minions? If they're in the swamp, anyone who goes in there would be in great danger.
Precisely. The three orders of Tyria are pushing to be involved, but can't agree on a plan. While they bicker, my people are at risk. Hero, I have summoned you to act as advocate of the crown. I want you to meet with the orders and take charge of the situation.
You'll be dealing with the Vigil, the Durman Priory, and the Order of Whispers. All three specialize in fighting Zaitan and its minions. However, they all use different methods. It'll be your job to decide which plan is best, and then act on it.
You will have the full authority of the crown to handle this situation. Will you accept this task, hero?
Oh yeah, I will.
Your Majesty, I will. I'm honored to serve Kryta and my queen.
Thank you. Go, and meet with the Order representatives as soon as possible. I look forward to your report.
Brilliant. Okay, so we're still serving Kryta, but we've just heard about undead. Which pretty much get used to undead, because a lot of the game is to do with undead. Logan says, thanks for taking on this problem, friend. I know you'll do what's best for Kryta. Can you tell me what you know about these orders? Absolutely. Do you want to know about the Vigil, the Dermid Priory, or the Order of Whispers? Tell me about the Vigil. The Vigil was founded by a Char named Almora Soulkeeper. Her warband was corrupted by the Crystal Dragon, and she was forced to kill them all. She may be a Char, but I can empathize. What happened to her? Don't forget, the Char were the ones that took our lands, or like attacked us in years past. And we've been at war with for a very long time. Almora swore to defeat the dragons. She resigned her commission in the Blood Legion and started a worldwide volunteer militia, the Vigil. Okay, what's the situation in Lichcroft? Village children go to the swamp to get firewood. If the Risen are there, do everything you can to get those innocents to safety. I will, Logan. You can count on me. What about these other guys? Tell me about the Dermid Priory. The Dermid Priory are a group of scholars and relic hunters. They possess massive knowledge on arcane lore, as well as the largest library in the world. Okay, what can they do to stop the dragons? Don't let their demeanor fool you. They're tough, shrewd people with a mission to discover the dragon's origins, purpose, and weaknesses. So I think it's important we remember what Logan says here. They are tough. I mean, they're going to seem a bit pathetic every now and then, but they're not. Lastly, oh no, not the Vigil. Tell me about the Order of Whispers. The Order of Whispers move in the shadows and deal in secrets. Their network of covert agents use thievery, blackmail, and assassination to achieve their goals. They sound pretty shady. Are they reliable? They seem to be, yes. Luckily for us, the Order recognizes the threat posed by Zaitan and the others. I can't say I trust them, but I respect them. And out of these three orders, the Order of Whispers are the only ones we're familiar with from the first game. The other two are new. They were only formed in the intervening two. I keep using that word, intervening. That's a word I never use. They only formed in the between 250 years. We got Anise here.
How do you do?
I'm glad you're here, Advocate. It's imperative that you discover what's happening in Lichcroft Mare. Lives depend on it. Was it your influence that convinced the Queen to name me Advocate? I simply ensured that Queen Jenna knew you were loyal and capable. Yeah, it was you then. Thank you very much. What do you know about the orders? Oh, she'll tell us as well. Did she tell us the same thing? Who will be oh no, this is who will be representing the orders. Your contact will be Josiah for the Priory. He's a scholar and explorer, though a bit eccentric. You'll see. Okay. What can you tell me about the Vigil? Hiroki will represent the Vigil. She was once a member of the Ebon Vanguard and continues to be a stalwart ally to Kryta. The Ebon Vanguard, I'll explain later. And what can you tell me about the Order of Whispers? The Order of Whispers dates back to ancient Elona. Ihan is their emissary. He might tell you more if you know how to ask. Yes, so Elona, Guild Wars 1, we got to go there. That's where we know the Order of Whispers from. Lastly, there was another question, wasn't there? No, there wasn't another. And the Queen herself, hello. Logan and Countess Anise speak quite highly of you. I'm confident that you will protect the people of Lichcroft Mare. Sure. Thank you, Your Majesty. Can you tell me anything else about the area? It's in Keswick's Hills. You'll be meeting with the orders at the trade camp south of Viathan Lake. Sure. What can you tell me about the orders? The orders study the elder dragons. As long as they stay out of politics, I allow them to operate in Kryta. Is there one in particular you want to know about? What can you tell me about the Vigil? The Vigil is a militant order dedicated to fighting the dragons. They offer charity and protection to all people of Tyria. What can you tell me about the Dermid Priory? Priory scholars save the libraries of Lion's Arch when ore rose. They study the dragons in the hope of finding a weakness. Okay. And what can you tell me about the Order of Whispers? I've seen its mysterious agents acting covertly to help Tyria. I may not trust them, but I recognise their contributions. Okay, great. So, what else? Will I see you again, Your Majesty? Sadly, it's not safe for me to leave Divinity's reach. I trust Captain Logan will work with you in the field. Good luck, Advocate. Okay, so she trusts Logan to come with us. And lastly, we can ask, during all years among your noble court, I've never been so honoured as at this moment. Thank you, Your Majesty. I'm pleased to see you take on the duties of your high birth, Advocate. You will do the nobility proud. I guess that's going to be a generic different response depending on your early choice of where you came from, which is cool to see that still having an effect later on. So yeah, there you go. That's we've met the Queen. She's tasked us with something new, something interesting. These three orders. This is going to start feeding us into the greater plot of Guild Wars 2. These orders are going to be quite a significant part of the story as we go forward. That's a bit of a very crash course there from the NPCs, at least, about them. I'll hope to clarify things as we go forward. But for now, we're going to have to start moving into Lichcroft Mare, and hopefully help these, because it sounds like there's children that are being attacked by the undead there, which is never good. So let's get going south. And yeah, this could be one of the last times we see Gw2 reach from this point on. But yeah, so we'll see what happens.